Hey guys, NocRan here. Now it's no secret that I've gotten pretty lucky in these primogem farming videos, and while a sane person at a casino may decide to either continue with what's brought them good luck or, God forbid, quit while they're ahead, I've decided to let greed grab me by the collar, rob me at gunpoint, and show me the Google definition of Stockholm Syndrome. That's right, today in what's going to be the biggest heist in Genshin Impact history, I'm going to steal the moon while winning the URA finale in Uma Musume. And with a bit of luck, I'll end up looking like Ocean's 11. Rather than Ocean Gate. I'm starting with 12,912 primogems plus 6 fates because that's what not pulling for 1.5 patches does. Also, the number I'm saying doesn't match up with the one on screen because I actually goofed and recorded Act 5 of NocRan before realizing I never noted down my starting count, which is why my timer's already almost 2 hours in. Nevertheless, I began with a classic NocRan tradition of breaking tradition and actually not starting with the Abyss because I had so many rewards nearing expiration that you could probably see the mold on them. During Varisa's and Shalonen's trials, they were found guilty for being the sin of gluttony and the sin of sloth. A few more sins, and with the funding of the Northland Bank, we could actually remake 7 Deadly Frames. Before I gaslit myself into thinking that I already did them, I did my Commisscions, spent my reason, then started Act 5 of NocRan, in which we planned the biggest going-away party since the Queen's funeral.
During the festival, when you look
No, take your time. Just know that at the speed we're moving, Columbina is gonna die of old age before we set up this party.
It's been 84 years.
POV, you've just seen the Taxman. After hopping on some LSD and talking to a bunch of ghosts, Grandpa Flynn's revealed his age in what was probably the most frustrating way possible.
I must be 600 or 700 years old.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think my brain just committed suicide.
I then finally met Alice, and she didn't show up as a Dodoko this time.
For funsies, of course.
Mr. Stark, I don't think she's feeling so good.
Because she's the best child in the whole wide world.
Klee's a little angel.
Except for the fact that Klee's practically a domestic terrorist, I would also agree. Afterwards, I started playing Schizophrenia Simulator and found out that the voice inside my head is actually a certified yapper who hasn't had much social interaction. Is she also a Genshin Impact player? I met up with Hack Guy, brought him to Sandrone and Arlecchino to discuss Dottore's ADHD and whether or not we should put him down, then watched Sandrone crash out.
A waste of time? The nerve! He wasted my time!
The worst she could say is no. I then played a QuickTime event where I was blowing up phantom monsters using phantom explosives to protect a phantom, and yes, I'd almost lost track of the plot. I'd almost lost track of the plot many times now. And with that, Act 5 of the Archon quest was complete, and I was instantly thrown into Act 6 without my consent. I collected the free wish, which brings us to this kerfuffle of a primo check. So to get my starting count, I reviewed the footage and subtracted 40 for Varisa's and Shalonen's trials, 60 for commissions, 30 for starting Act 6, and the free wish for completing Act 5. Hopefully I didn't miss any, and if I did, I blame the LSD. Continuing with Act 6, the voice inside my head really wanted to sell me Jesus, but just like every door-to-door salesperson, I simply threw a bunch of F keys at her and she shut up pretty quickly. Then I helped Columbina return from the graveyard by calling her true name. John Moon. Afterwards, it was finally time to enjoy the festivities, which included Bomberman for the physically and mentally impaired, an entire yapathon for my psychosis-induced angel, my very own Dodoko pinball machine, which sounds like something Hoyoverse could actually sell. You're welcome for the brilliant idea. I'll be willing to take only 90% of the profits on that. Drawing tarot cards and getting my future read by some scam artist.
This card.
Must have been the wind.
Running into the little rat, playing ring toss using slaves taken from Simulanka, finally kicking some balls that aren't venties, and going on a ride that probably broke a bunch of safety violations. As well as my neck when I fell off of it. At this moment, I did wonder, did I die and go to heaven? Because if I did, I think God made a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here. After Columbina nailed Yehoda in the face with a water balloon because she's just so bullyable, I got to witness Columbina with cat ears, which had me wondering if Hoyoverse was listening to me complain about the lack of cat girls a while ago. And if some poor dev is listening, first of all, sorry you've had to sift through my delirious ramblings, and second, don't forget to leave your closet door open at night. It gets awfully hot in here. We also played that crocodile teeth game, which Sandrone always seemed to lose at. We then broke through Sandrone's tsundere exterior, played some legally distinct Pokemon, and received some artworks of various styles to cap off the night.
What the f?
is this piece of shit?
Of course, this was too happy of an end to the festival, so the doctor decided to prescribe a huge dose of fuck you. With that, Act 6 was complete. I collected a few achievements, the free wish, the festival rewards, which included free doses of cat, the 500 primos for completing the 6.2 Archon quests, and did my dailies, before finally starting the Abyss 3.5 hours into recording. The only interesting thing about floor 11 this rotation was that they made me commit slime genocide, and when I got to floor 12, I got about halfway through searching up the weasel on Google before my attention span gave up and I just started the run. While Skirk had no trouble committing animal cruelty, I may have made a slight miscalculation when it came to more avian-inclined enemies, and while I still killed it, I ended up barely missing the 7-minute mark, so like, who knows? Maybe I'll end up barely missing a step while walking across the street into oncoming traffic. I gave it a retry and killed the mob before it could fly up, which might have helped out a little, but honestly, I'm not too sure. Then I met Michael Reeves' pet project if his garage were the size of Bethlehem Royal Hospital, and I probably should have googled this one, huh? After Yulon got stoned to death for being a witch, I completed the Abyss. Next up was Imaginarium Theater, and oh no, it seems that I've lost the last 30 minutes of recording.
Whoop-de-doo!
Random thought, but finishing Imaginarium Theater and collecting the rewards always feels like I'm running a marathon but got hit by 2 pickup trucks and a bus, but still end up stumbling across the finish line and finishing 3rd. I'll let that one simmer for a bit. I checked my primo count, collected some maintenance compensation and web event rewards, collected a couple newly added achievements, and did my commissions. But to spend my resin, I needed to unlock this domain right here because I wanted to farm the new set. And you know what that means?
Exploration!
Right after this commercial break brought to you by Columbina. I made it about 2 Lunoculus in before immediately getting ganked by a quest, then got distracted from my distraction by an oversized stair lift because they needed space for Eula's fat ass before starting this random side quest that you'll definitely see again sometime in this video. Afterwards, I collected 10 Lunoculi and you better be ready to see more of these, cause spoiler alert, I collected all of the new ones in this video. I then herded the sheeple towards my next scam, where I collected some more achievements and pretended to continue the Archon quest since I wanted to explore the north, which reminded me of my trip to Korea. And as soon as I got teleported to the northern tip of NocRan, I immediately tried to turn around to unlock the Statue of 7 in the area, only to be trapped, and now it was eerily similar to my trip to Korea. As per NocRan tradition, I infiltrated yet another Fatui research facility, this time belonging to Dottore, which meant a lot of victims of workplace harassment, and unfortunately, their HR department got the cabin in the woods treatment. After making another Among Us joke, because that's all vents are good for nowadays, I finally found Dottore who has collected all the Infinity Stones and decided that this video is too visually accessible. Inverts your color palette. I then got kidnapped by Dottore, during which he defeated my arguments using facts and logic, before trying to Stockholm me by letting me fly. How did he know that I've always wanted to become a B-52 bomber? Anyone willing to call in an airstrike can do so using Nicole's newly invented Dodoco phones.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm calling in an airstrike on the Sumeru Desert. That racist genie was right.
Oh, that's not making it into the video. In a huge mess of
wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff,
Columbina tried to warn us by vandalizing the walls within the hotel, which is unfortunate, because not only have I never learned how to read, but vandalism is a crime punishable by public flaying. This quest also included working as Sandrone's loyal servant, which, you know, has always been my dream job. And next up on NocRan news, Dottore's giant balls are actually filled with polonium. That's hardly even a joke, it's basically canon. And after some more
wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey,
Act 7 was complete. Jumping straight into Act 8, I stabbed Dottore in the back.
I am the danger.
Which he found mildly annoying. Average London experience. With the help of Hat Guy, we were able to escape Dottore's massive testicular-shaped radioactive experiment, and made it back in time for the big meeting during which we discussed how to confront Thanos and his Infinity Stones. Meanwhile, Columbina was still trying to find a way back home. And I've just made myself super dizzy. But with the help of the 3 moon mommies, Columbina was able to solve her time kerfuffle-duffle by committing self-deletion. We assembled the Avengers and enacted our plan, which was almost cool until I bonked my head on a metal crate.
Why you fucking coming fast?
Soon enough, in preparation for the final fight, Dottore unzipped the sky and the zipper got stuck on his massive radioactive balls. The boss fight began with Dottore starting a nuclear war, while I was busy shooting him with my puny little water gun. And after an unimportant series of events, we managed to finally beat Dottore and his huge sack of philosophical nonsense. Exactly, Paimon. I agree. I said goodbye to Arlecchino and Hat Guy, sailed off into the moonlight, and now is the perfect time to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe so we can take this video to the moon. I didn't really mean that literally, but after I watched Flat Tevader's Seethe and Cope, and unlocked permanent buffs to the Traveler that I'll definitely be making use of,
Literally lying!
I completed Act 8, as well as unlocked some sick drip, and got a second Act 8 ending screen. My grade 8 self doing book reports would call this foreshadowing. Considering both Acts 7 and 8 took place in its own instance, I never even got the chance to get distracted by exploration. As disappointed as I am about that.
And my day is ruined.
I collected the 2 wishes for completing both acts of the Archon quest, a bunch of achievements I forgot about, the 560 primos for completing the Archon quest during the 6.3 update, and checked my primo count. I handed in my commissions, and on my way to actually unlock the new domain to spend my resin, which was the original goal 4 hours ago before I got stuck in...
Wibbly wobbly.
I may have gotten distracted. I promise I'm on my way. I need to... Almost there. Just around the corner. Just trust me. While I was totally on my way to spend my resin, the voices in my head were telling me to commit another war crime.
Do it.
And while I was able to fight that urge, I did need to let out some aggression, so I chose this bulbous head-looking thing as my target. After collecting a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, 2 Lunoculi, a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, and parrying an eyeball, I still hadn't spent my resin. So I collected another Lunoculus before finally making it to the Promised Lands, and finally spending my resin. Finally. Well, that's actually not bad. And after losing the meaning of Lunoculus again, I tried to save some dead people or something, I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I'm pretty sure they all died anyway. I lit up the rest of the map this time, not with the nuke, collected some achievements, met up with Itlua with a Silent G and a non-existent T to start the quest that unlocks the Cliff Watch Camp meeting point, where I walked with Itlua with a Silent G and a non-existent T up some stairs. Please, walk faster. Please! After another Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus, a Lunoculus... After 5 more Lunoculi, I followed a pack of wolves to, you guessed it, another Lunoculus, and another Lunoculus, and talking to Varka to unlock the Favonius Keep meeting point, and another Lunoculus. Varka also had us rescuing some booze from the wolves in a rescue mission sponsored by LCBO. Then I pretended to be an Uber Eats delivery driver who got drunk off the customer's order and decided that rolling the barrel down a hill was worth a thumbs up review. After employing animals in what was essentially free labor, it was time for me to drink my problems away and black out until next Tuesday. Again. And it was shortly after I finished recording this segment that I realized the script for this section is literally just straight up garbage. I basically had nothing except for 30 Lunoculus entries. What the fuck am I doing? I of course began my next recording session with another Lunoculus because I'm just simply hilarious. Next, I finished unsealing the sealed pillars, of which I only had 1 left after forgetting to show you my... overzealous resin spending adventures. I trapped the corruption in a cage, which unfortunately doesn't work in real life, found 3 more Lunoculi, saved a random rat Niki, saved this sloth sheep, and yes, that's actually what they're called, I've just found that out, did my commissions, spent my resin, for real this time, got double-fisted by artifact rolls, collected a free wish from the Lantern Rite event, then I started taking pictures because the voice inside my head has decided that I'm now a professional nature photographer. Unfortunately, nature didn't appreciate me using the newest iPhone 27 with its 15 lenses. Afterwards, Nicole showed me how to sculpt like SpongeBob, but instead I sculpted like Squidward. Then she yapped for so long, the game itself got tired of it and told her to shut up.
Fate is always ineffable.
Ineffable? Inefa? After finally unlocking the Witch's Garden meeting point, I found another Lunoculus, then entered Elon Musk's secret doomsday bunker post-Grok takeover.
It's time you learned the truth, Earthling!
Using the terminal, I got to explore my favorite horror game, Alien Isolation, and I really hoped this purification chamber wasn't alluding to any historical events, but at least they had Lunoculi. I decided to read a communications log for fun, and fortunately for us, my experience with accessing Fatui State secrets will help me unredact this mess. To Supervisor R.M. Morozov. Another person pissing died. How many more deaths do you want to see? Stop this CBT experiment immediately, or I will amputate your dick and feed it to Paimon. Wow, that's probably one of the worst things I've ever read. I can't believe Hoyoverse would put this in the game. It might be time for another boycott. At some point, my intrusive thoughts leaked out and I was trying to get crushed by the door with some mixed results. Okay, I'm satisfied now. They really did try to amp up the horror vibe in here, which I can appreciate, but I don't think it really worked. Jesus Christ almighty. Although I was pretty surprised that I never got lost down here, and you might be wondering, NocRan, isn't it basically just a straight path? First off, have that. Second, You underestimate my ability to read the map upside down. The final boss of Elon's electrifying experience was a giant unknown that rewarded 3 chests which completed the quest. Oh, did I not mention I was doing one?
No.
After 3 more Lunoculi, I began the next Abyss rotation. Not now, Mocha, I'm playing Minecraft. Looking at the floor 12 enemies, it looked actually really easy, which is also what I thought when I saw your mother. Perpetual Depression Array, Suppressed, Danny Phantom, Ghost Busted, Mexican Pickle, Diced, Nodcry Wildlife, Extinct, Ino's Toy Duck, Dismantled. This was an incredibly memorable 10-minute Abyss speedrun, which I'm sure I'll remember for at least the next 4 minutes. I checked my primo count, then went back to exploring, which involved dodging these eyeball lasers like they were the IRS. But with the help of Itlua with a silent G and a non-existent T, I was able to play hopscotch, apparently. I climbed up to get a Lunoculus. Now I'm pretty sure the world quest will lead me up here anyway, but I'm a master at doing things out of order and not giving a shit. I helped Itlua with a silent G and a non-existent T repair the Tower of God, and immediately all of my hard work was undone, which is why I'm an atheist.
Oh god.
I did my commissions, fought my fellow heretic, spent my resin, then went back to exploring. I've just had this weird sense of deja vu. And if you're curious about my progress, here's what my map exploration looks like at this moment. Since it looked a little anemic, I decided to head north to try to fatten up that sad-looking number. While I was in the area, I wanted to do this quest called Daliod? My desk started floating, during which I pretended to read the note that popped up on screen, helped Itlua with a silent G and a non-existent T traverse through the Chernobyl radiation cloud, but unfortunately we were being cucked by the Eye of Sauron.
They're the same picture.
I got a couple more Lunoculi while Shanyon was dying from lung cancer, collected a check-in reward, a couple achievements, another Lunoculus, then got distracted by this forgotten key. During my distraction though, I got ganked by the quest anyway and had to fight another unknown as if it were a bullet hell, before watching some random NPC Alt F4. I then found the forgotten key, which was not forgotten about, had a 511 versus 6-foot experience, and parried the Eye of Sauron. They honestly should have just done that in Lord of the Rings, would have saved them a lot of time. And walking. Mostly the walking. After Lunoculus number 723,969,
nice.
Itlua with a silent G and a non-existent T went on Sauron's wacky ride alone because everyone else got motion sick. And speaking of motion sickness, imagine if there was actually a first-person setting in this game. The quest had Itlua with a silent G and a non-existent T reenacting the jumping into the abyss meme, and culminated in a boss fight that had more invulnerability points than I have brain cells. I counted 3, and finally finished this part of the quest, before getting started with the final chapter. But first, let me get distracted real quick with some nice and simple exploration, which included another blasted Lunoculus, these eyes lining up to get blasted, which gave me a couple chests, another Lunoculus, a chest floating in the water, another Lunoc, and now the north of the map was at 82%. Back to the quest, I inserted the Holy Jousting Lance into the forge, which is most certainly an innuendo. The Ratniki base then got invaded, but I abandoned everyone to assemble another giant fuck-off cannon. This is like the 3rd time NocRan really loves its giant fuck-off cannons, and I'm still not tired of it. We then had a feast where we ate so much that it warranted the inflation tag. That's probably one of the worst lines I've ever written. With that, the quest was complete. But you know what wasn't complete? My Lunoculus collection. I actually already have this achievement. I'm just a fan of hunting down lesser beings. 3 more Lunoculi later, and it was time to do my commissions again. Collect 2 more free wishes for Lantern Rite, spend my resin, and start the Echoes of a Forsaken Song quest.
Ha! You missed.
In which I built the frame of a house that would kill any HOA officials who came for inspection. After another I'm tired of these things, get them out of my sight, I manifested a castle out of hopes and dreams. So a more accurate portrayal would be if the castle crashed into the ground in a heaping ball of nihilistic fueled fire. I partied with some Sealies before completing the quest. I Shanyon flexed my way to another Lunoculus, and while I could have just used the flower here to shoot myself up, with this though, I'd collected every Lunoculus released in this update.
Finally!
And if I ended up missing one, I will be in need of some rope. I unlocked 2 Shrines of Depth, then continued this quest called East of the Moon, West of the Sun, North of the Korean DMZ, South of my ballsack. This quest included paying a visit to the retirement home.
Shut up, Grandma!
Hope you don't mind, Grandma, but I've bought a lot at the local graveyard and I need to make good use of it. Do I dare make the same joke for the 3rd time? Help me, step disciple. During this puzzle, I spent 20 seconds learning how to read, and using all 2 of my brain cells, I was able to deduce that I'm an idiot, but at least I picked the right key. This quest also had me digging in the dirt and finding Klee's extra stash of Semtex. Unfortunately, speedrunning my way onto the FBI watch list doesn't stop me from getting pranked. It also doesn't stop me from throwing coins at the weasels like I'm at some really painful strip club. And I'm just gonna stop right there. Man, I gotta stop writing these scripts at 4 AM. After arriving at what looked like Smog's horde, and killing off the guardian of the horde that looked less like Smog and more like a hairball he would cough up, they bribed me with 6 chests because what we raided was not actually some long-lost treasure, but supplies belonging to the indigenous.
I am once again asking for your financial support.
Unfortunately for them, I've already told the press. Now, if my commentary didn't help with your understanding of what this quest was about, know that properly explaining the premise would require me to remember it. I collected some achievements, then stared at my map as I contemplated the meaningless struggle against my neurosis, which resulted in me wanting 90% in each region. This next quest, called To Turn Each Sin Against the Sinner, had me fighting a corrupted eye for about 5 minutes, making it the longest boss fight in this video. I think it was a metaphor for pink eye or retina detachment or something. But afterwards, I completed the quest, which gave me 2 achievements and 3 chests. I then had all the seals, which I stole from the Alaskan wilderness, and with their help, we were able to hunt down all the goldfish to extinction. No, I was able to raid all 3 treasure vaults for some real shiny trash.
Trash.
After getting 90% exploration in all 3 regions, I got the Witch's Garden meeting point to level 5, the Favonius Keep meeting point to level 5, and the Cliff Watch Camp meeting point to level 5. I know I made fun of it, but I kinda miss saying the Clink Clank Crumb Kake Workshop. I opened the last Shrine of Depth in this update, collected my exploration rewards from the Spanish monarchy, and checked my primo count. The next couple days consisted of doing my commissions, spending my resin, and collecting a couple more event rewards because I was touching grass and didn't have time to record. The next day, I was looking at the Stygian Onslaught bosses until I remembered, I only do hard mode in these videos, I don't care what these bosses do. I spent some resin in Stygian before realizing I'm a dumb nut and forgot to change the set, then did my commissions and started another photographer event. Quick question though, should I feel embarrassed that I instantly knew exactly how to get that silhouette with Eula? In any case though, that was a quick and easy 400 primos, but not as quick or as easy as picking up 5 free wishes from the Lantern Rite event, which would be 800 primos. I collected a bunch of achievements that I forgot about the past couple days, then did my commissions again because I was being a degenerate, spent some more resin, and had so little star glitter that I'd probably give a hoarder a heart attack. Now, you remember that elderly woman from 3 minutes ago? Well, she's actually a local legend. That's right, the big bad wolf always wins in the end.
Are we just gonna sit around here and talk about how big I'm getting?
And speaking of big bad wolves, this local legend took me 20 minutes to get a run where I could complete all 3 objectives. Yes, I did lie to you. The Corrupted Eye was not the longest boss fight in this video.
Gonna cry?
I also decided to 100% the rest of the new map, because I truly have not scratched that itch yet. Once again, the treasure compass helped with finding a vein, and after about 20 minutes of exploring, I 100%ed one region, and moved on to the next. This included getting my wheat stolen by the Weasel Mafia, catching the weasel,
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
baking bread, gathering the council to determine whether or not I'll be tried in The Hague, and herding more slaves, I mean free labor. No, I mean slaves. With that, I'd technically 100%ed the new map, but I decided to do a victory lap getting the rest of the chests in the north, and thank God I did because there were like 4 precious chests that I missed.
Where did everybody go?
I collected a couple of achievements and checked my primo count. I then disappeared for 4 days of only doing commissions and came back to claim my C2 Hu Tao. I promise I'll use her again someday. I also came back to a gift from Hoyoverse, and they were definitely not bribing me to stay silent about the events on April 31st, 1974, the monthly shop reset, and so did Imaginarium Theater, for which I was lacking 1 character for Lunar Mode. So I chose to ascend Gaming for his complex character and rich lore, but mostly because of his name.
Gamer?
And just like a CEO flying to an island to simply conduct some business, I was f***ed from the start. So then I chose to ascend Dea because even though she's a fake cat girl, at least she's tanned. I'ma pretend I didn't see that. Please get 4, please get 4. After finally ascending Dea to 70, I started Imaginarium Theater on Lunar Mode, and oops. Afterwards, I finally got around to Nivlet's new outfit quest, in which his new outfit was being made by the Melusines, like if the elves decided to make a toy for Santa. Unfortunately, they'll still be unpaid. After not remembering anything else about this quest, I started the Lantern Rite event, then immediately decided not to do it and pull for Columbina instead because I was feeling just a little bit lazy. After 19 hours, I ended up at 25,574 primos plus 26 fates, which means that, so far, I farmed 15,862 primos, which sounds really absurd now that I'm saying it out loud. I'm 40 pity deep, and honestly, I don't even remember pulling that much. Is that bad? That's probably bad, right? The dementia's getting worse. Let's get right into part 1 of the pulls. 50, 60, oh, slightly early. Huh. Am I about to find out that I farmed an extra 10,000 primos for nothing? I also like how her splash art takes up the entire screen so all you can see is the void. Don't forget, the video isn't actually over. After spending 20 pulls on Columbina, I then had to wait for Zibai, and guys, I may have overshot the amount of pulls I needed for this. After another day of only doing my commissions because it was Monday and my name is Garfield, I did Zibai's character trial, and because she slipped me a 20, she won't become a special on the McDonald's menu.
I was genuinely puzzled when news of the horse meat scandal first broke, because I'm so familiar with my horse meat. You know, often I will be eating horse meat 3 or 4 times a week.
Afterwards, I spent my resin building Columbina. Now you might be wondering why I haven't been farming for Columbina's ascension materials during the past few weeks, and that's because I have the foresight of a chronic alcoholic who's just had 14 shots of straight vodka and is about to get behind the wheel. Also, it completely slipped my mind. I then leveled Columbina to 80 because while I am a multi-millionaire when it comes to Mora, I got no stocks in resin. I completed my commissions, collected the last Lantern Rite and check-in rewards, and finally started the Lantern Rite event. These events included Monster Dash in 2026, Vampire Survivors at Home, and the copy-paste key. After collecting my rewards, I bought a bunch of Chinese contraband goods and stopped the timer. In 20 hours, I managed to get to 27,070 primogems plus 6 fates. And subtracting the amount I started with while adding the 20 I spent on Columbina, this means that I farmed 17,358 primogems in this video. Now you might be thinking that this amount of pulls is overkill, which it is, and you also might be thinking that I'm actually just a disembodied voice that doesn't exist in real life and only exists in the ether, which I am. But anyway, I'm at 7 pity, so let's get on with the pulls. I'm gonna even this out to 10 real quick. 20? 30? There's no way. I'm not even mad, this is so early. 11, 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. God, I love her design. Now for the real reason why I pulled Zibai, I can finally use Chiori's weapon. Well then, this was a very eventful video with a nice and happy ending. It wasn't guaranteed that I'd get them both, but I had a decent enough chance. The real question is though, will I be struck by lightning? On a completely separate note, I've been thinking of opening memberships or starting a Patreon. I won't really have much to offer besides more in-depth video updates, sneak peeks, your name in the end credits of a video, and if I somehow don't end up finishing videos last minute, early access to them. No promises. But it'll be more of a if you want to support me kind of thing. I'll probably think about it a bit more. If I do, I do, and if I don't, I don't. Anyway though, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!